Hi, everybody. My name is Karen Casey, and I am just delighted to be here today to talk to you about my newest book, Cultivating Hope. Some of you are probably familiar with me from other things I have written over the years. I have been a writer and a lecturer and a workshop provider for almost 30 years now. My first book, Each Day a New Beginning, was published in 1982, and it is still being read widely by women and men too, even though it was a daily meditation book written specifically for women. I hear that many men find that it really resonates with that softer side of them. Each Day a New Beginning, and many of my books have been published throughout the world, as a matter of fact, which makes me very, very pleased. And my newest book, Cultivating Hope, though, is the one that I want to talk to you about today. I decided to write a book on hope just because there were so many people that I knew from the recovery rooms, as well as people that I meet in the workshops and in the personal growth seminars that I give, who seem to feel relatively hopeless today. And I think that many of us, in fact, who are in a recovery program of some kind, and I certainly am, and have been for about 35 years now, walked into those rooms feeling very hopeless. So it is really my concern to help everybody who has hopelessness at their core for whatever reason. Maybe it's a problem with a chemical, maybe it's a problem with finances, maybe it's a problem in relationships or a family problem or a problem on the job. But hopelessness creeps around the corners of our lives so often. That's why I decided to approach this topic in, I hope, a new way that will appeal to many of you. What I did in this book was interview many people about their own personal stories of hope and how they felt hopeless at one time and how their lives were transformed. And out of all of those interviews, I selected 12 that I felt gave a very good cross-section of people throughout the country. People in recovery rooms, people who were elderly, people who were young, men and women. And I think that because there is a broad range, it will have an appeal. The stories I coupled with essays on hope and how we could cultivate more hope in our lives. Let me read just a bit of one of those essays to you so that you have a feel for the tone that I use in my writing, a tone that I think maybe will appeal to you because it's my intent that it's gentle, it's accessible, it speaks to your heart, because I think that speaking to one another's heart is really what it is about. That's my purpose in life, I feel, is to try to reach your heart through opening my own heart to you. So let me read just a little bit of one of the essays. It only takes a tiny seed of hope to experience a different life. Sowing tiny seeds, a ritual that farmers experience each spring, is the beginning of the life forms that will sustain them and many other families for the coming year. The miracle that a tiny, unassuming seed becomes an ear of corn, a bean, a radish, a potato, or a carrot is all the evidence we need to believe that our own tiny seed of hope can also mature and feed us in ways we hadn't imagined. While this sounds reasonable, it's not always easy to translate what is true in the cycle of crop production to our own troubled existence. But possessing a hopeful perspective is powerful and life-changing. Every bit as miraculous as the reconstitution of a small yellow seed into a sturdy stalk of corn. In our mental and spiritual lives, the process is the same. A significant transformation can take place if a seed, whether it's a physical seed or a thought or an idea, is properly nourished. The farmer prays for rain after spreading fertilizer and then watches the corn seeds sprout. We nurture the idea that being willing to set aside our disbelief that God does indeed have the perfect outcome for us will blossom into a spiritual transformation that brings sustaining hope. That's just a part of one of the essays that you'll find in this book. There's an essay for every week, and the essays are coupled with some suggestions for how you might journal throughout the week, things you might do at the end of each day in order to make your life come alive with hope. So I hope that you'll take a look for this book. You can buy it directly from Amazon.com. You could go to hazelden.org. You can go to any bookstore and seek Cultivating Hope. I think you'll like it. Thank you for listening.